Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. We've got a couple minutes before go time here, so settle in. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Let's see. Can someone give me a thumbs up emoji if you can see my content? Awesome. Okay, Protic, I don't know. Must just be you. Do you want to log in on your PC too and watch that way? Because I was able to
Yeah,
see
let
your
me do
video
that.
and your content. Okay.
Yeah, let me do that.
Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in a minute or two. Thanks for joining. If I was really cool, I'd have background music going. I haven't done that before. I'll have to see if I can add that next time. Thanks for joining, friends. Thanks for being here. We'll get started in another minute. Okay, we've got a lot to cover, so I'll just keep letting people in as they are joining us. But why don't we go ahead and get started, everyone? Thank you so much for being here for the 401 session. I'm super glad you're here. I've been really looking forward to this session. If you have joined or gone back and watched the YouTube sessions, you'll know that across 101, 201, and 301, we've really been building the story about what Copilot is, how it transforms meetings, and how agents extend that capability. And today is where we um, make that story about your business and how it turns into a story for your business. So this session is about two things: the express install motion that lets our partners deploy Microsoft Teams rooms in every space, not just the bespoke boardroom, and the service-led opportunity that we can build around this, which is where real revenue, partner revenue lives at a reoccurring level. So my goal for the next 45, 50 minutes is simple. I want you to be able to walk out of this session not just understanding the opportunity, but that you are ready to run with it with the resources and the talk track and the understanding of the go-to-market right away. I also want to start off by thanking our OEM sponsor for this session, my friend Prochik Chanda with Cisco, who is going to join me at about the 45-minute mark to talk about how Cisco is actually bringing this story to life in every room. Again, just to do some housekeeping, I'm going to keep it very practical today. No need to hold your questions unless you want to do them live at the end. I can put everybody on, turn on your audio and video. You can ask questions live or drop them in the chat, and we'll be tracking that as well. So let's dive into my slides for today. So I want to take a minute to look at the bigger journey that we have been building together since the 101 session. So what started as From Copilot to Conference Room has really evolved into an enablement series focused into solving one simple question, which is how do we help ourselves, our partners and our customers move from AI curiosity to AI at scale in meeting rooms. And because of the success and the attendance of the 100 level series, I did begin to develop a 200 level series, which will start on August 26th. So if you are here today, that first session of the 200 level series will automatically show up on your calendar, as will all of the 202, 302, and 402. I won't go into too much detail about this right now, but across that next season, we're going to follow a similar progression, right? From individual productivity, organizational adoption, intelligent meeting spaces, and ultimately reoccurring partner opportunities and revenue. So stay tuned for more information on that. Again, if you want to register now, you can. And if you want to go back and watch the sessions on my YouTube channel, you can do that. So looking forward to that. Okay, so level set on where we are today in this 100 level series. 401 only makes sense when it takes place after these first 3 sessions. So in the 101 session, we went through what we call the Copilot light bulb moment. We grounded Copilot in our actual day-to-day roles. We built day in the life workflows. So it stopped becoming a feature or being a feature and became a personal tool, right? That impacted us each individually in ways in our own day-to-day. And then in 201, which we call the business of meetings, we made meetings the unit of value for Copilot, right? So Copilot before, during, and after the meeting, with the facilitator agent capturing decisions and that vault of knowledge that we build for our meetings. And then in 301, last week or 2 weeks ago, we brought agents into the broader conversation. So across the 101 to 301, we built demand. We showed customers why every meeting should be an AI-powered meeting. But here's the thing. All of that demand is not worth much to our business if the rooms aren't there to deliver it. And that's what 401 is today. So this is the execution rung, where the Copilot story becomes deployed Teams rooms and, more importantly, reoccurring services revenue for our partners. So if 101 through 301 was the why, today is the how. And if you've missed any of the earlier sessions, please go back and watch on YouTube. So this will really make a lot more sense if we have that broader context. And they're always worth a rewatch and sharing with your organizations and your partners and customers. So here's our gold card where we are today. This is where we are diving in. So let me walk you through where we're going, because this session is really about moving from understanding to execution. So we're going to start talking about the opportunity, why Copilot has put every meeting room in play, not just the boardroom. Then the core of the session is about our express install motion, right? So that's the repeatable meeting in a box, right? For lack of a better term, play that makes every room deployable and AI ready. And then from there, we get to the part that I want you really to remember when you leave this session, right? Which is the services-led story, how the bundle and especially services line items turn a one-time opportunity into long-term value and revenue for us. So then we kind of look at the attendees into 2 different types of partner opportunities, right? So we know we have systems integrators, AV integrators, we have MSPs. There's different types of partners that are going to lean into these opportunities in different ways with different expertise. So we will look into how do we manage that? How do we help support that? And then our friend Protic from Cisco is going to take a few minutes for our OEM Spotlight. Please stay tuned for that. Tons of great new information from Cisco. Okay, so without further ado, here's the frame for this section. The boardroom, right, is a largely solved problem. Is the room complex? Yes. Does it require expertise and knowledge and design, build, time? Yes. But it's largely solved, right? So we've been doing this type of large boardroom work for a really long time. And we have amazing, tremendous, skilled partners that are so successful in doing that. But most of our customers have already they've invested in flagship rooms, right? I shouldn't say most customers, but a lot of customers that have standardized on Teams and or are investing in Copilot, they have invested in their flagship rooms. The opportunity The long-term opportunity, the volume and the growth, is in every other room in the building. And I'm talking about this from, a sales perspective, but I really want us to stay grounded in how this impacts us all day to day. This is important for me as an individual contributor at my organization. I want my meeting rooms AI ready so that I can take advantage of everything I learned in the 101, 201, and 301 session, right? It's not just talking about sales and opportunity for Teams rooms. It is that, but it's also just keeping in the front of your mind how impactful this is to us each individually as well. So I want to let that land, right? So because I think it really reframes how we think about the entire estate for our customers. And let me move into why Copilot is what suddenly makes these other rooms really important, that makes them really matter. This is why the moment is different. So for years, the equipped room was the exception, right? We had several rooms in our organizations and our offices that were complex, beautiful, designed, configured, pick an adjective, right? And everything else, most of the other meeting spaces in that organization was nothing, or maybe a display and a cable. And then Copilot entered the room, right? And it changes the expectation. So once we start experiencing AI-powered productivity, AI-powered meetings, live notes, decisions, capturing what's being, contributed to the meetings, action items assigned automatically, having agents, take care of so many of those 16 steps to a successful meeting that we talked about in the 201, right? Once we experience that, we begin to really expect and want it in every meeting, not just for our quarterly all hands meeting in the big room, right? The big, beautiful boardroom. So picture a typical customer. If we just, we've got 20 meeting spaces. So the boardroom and maybe 1 or 2 large conference rooms are equipped, but then the other 28 or 27 rooms, the huddle room, the standard conference rooms, the focus rooms, where people like the me and you of it all, where we're actually doing most of our meetings, are unequipped or, at best case scenario, inconsistent. That gap is the opportunity. I want you thinking about how you and your organization, how your meetings go, and how your own customers are facing this. How many of their rooms are genuinely AI ready today? And for most of them, the honest answer is a handful, right? So the takeaway is this line here on the right. The boardroom is solved. Complex, yes, but solved. We know we have tremendous partners that have been doing that as their core business model for years, decades, very successfully. The opportunity, though, is all of the other rooms, okay? And the long tail of everyday rooms where the average Joe is meeting is where the volume lives, and that's exactly where we go next. I want to just pause and kind of paint the opportunity picture a little bit, like what is the actual scale? So we have seen tremendous growth, as our partners know, for our Teams Rooms business. We just last month crossed the milestone of 1.5 million Teams Rooms active licenses on a monthly basis. And I think daily it's 1,000 active devices. So the demand, the need, the adoption, it's there, right? And it's a testament to the transformative nature of the collaboration experiences that are enabled by our Teams Rooms devices and that ecosystem of vendors that we work with. So this is there's still a massive opportunity, right? And the more that this adoption happens in the field and the more there's investment and expectations with AI, further opportunities come to light for additional rooms. And I just want to put some shape to that. So just to be totally upfront, this chart is illustrative, right? Just to show you proportions, not precise figures. But I can give you some data to back this illustration. I'll start with saying that every customer, and almost any customer rather, the large complex rooms are just a small slice. The violet color in our illustration here is everything else, right? The huddle, the standard, the focus rooms. And the mindset shift that we have to take, and it's a paradigm shift, right? It's a new motion, is from selling or addressing one type of bespoke room to, from maximum complexity flagship rooms to yes, that, and also standardizing a portfolio across the whole estate for our customers. And think about it from the customer side too. We're all customers using our own meeting rooms. So if we think about from our, meeting scenarios and our customers, we don't want 30 different room designs that we can't support, right? So we want a consistent, repeatable experience that their people can walk into and it just works, and that their IT team can actually manage, support. So instead of one, what like maybe we'll call a hero room build every few months, we can now have a conversation about 20 or 30 rooms that have a standard. One doesn't replace the other. It is this, you need both the yellow, the gold, and the purple to make the circle, right? So it is a yes and conversation. And these may be different colors because they're a different room type and they're a different type of room design, scope, complexity, et cetera. But we want to have the same level of modernization and AI accessibility and standardization for all of the rooms, right? So it's a scalable design model for native solutions for the full portfolio of spaces. So just to add a little bit more context to this, we know that we've barely scratched the surface of hitting 20%-ish of the white space of meeting room market in North America. That means, so this circle here represents 80% of white space. The same proportions apply. Most of that 80% of white space is the other room. Yes, there's complex boardrooms, large rooms, flagship rooms, high impact rooms, but the greater majority of those spaces is the other room type. And now the other room type, as we've discussed, is very important because of these AI-powered meeting experiences. So it's just a fundamentally bigger, more repeatable business, right? And critically, it's where services scale because we're not just designing one-off designs, experiences. We're doing that and we're rolling out standard solutions for the other rooms and we're managing them, right? So hold on to this portfolio idea because that's kind of what makes the next section about Express Install the unlock. So everything that we just said, every room, a portfolio standard. It only works if deploying those other, let's just call them other rooms, stops being a very complex or custom project. We're always going to have those. Even some of these other types of rooms are going to be complex, but not all of them, right? So this is where Express Install comes in, and it turns every room from a bespoke, long, lengthy integration project into this repeatable deployment ready motion. Yes, and, right? So we have complex rooms and we have a deployment ready motion for the other rooms. So let's look at what specifically changed to make that possible. So what makes a Express Install work? So first, pre-configured bundles, right? And I know that there's a lot of nuance to this, right? So every customer is different. Every customer has, maybe they've got displays, maybe they don't have anything in their rooms, maybe they have some type of existing technology or components that they want to be able to retrofit for the room. So it's not always going to be a pre-configured bundle, but this is a starting point of the conversation, right? So instead of having to spec every component, there's deployment ready bundles matched to each room type: huddle, small, medium, large. Second, minimal custom design. So because the bundle is standardized on native Teams Room solutions, we're not having to redesign every room, which means we can do more rooms with the same teams. Third, the configuration guidance is built in. The setups are documented and repeatable. So this doesn't require your most senior engineers or project managers for every single room. It lowers the skills barrier on a portion of the rooms that we're working on. And we have distributors, right, that can do a lot of the heavy lifting on logistics and fulfillment of these bundles, dropping the overhead per room even further. So the thread that ties together all four is, and it makes, I think the most important point on this slide is that less bespoke work per room is what makes scale possible. And again, it's a yes and, right? I'm not saying we stop doing custom design, complex rooms. We know we have those, but we also want to make scale possible for those other rooms. And when we do that, it's also what lets brand new partner types play, right? So this kind of opens the opportunity for who are the partners that are going to start addressing these rooms, right? So there's our very critical, important, valuable systems integrators and AV integrators that have been our more traditional partners, have really nailed the custom design, build, deploy methodology for Teams rooms. And however, most of them don't sell Copilot, right? So there's a little bit of a gap there. But then we also have MSP partners, for example, who've never racked an AV system in their life, but now they can stand up rooms because there's bundles, right? And there's config guidance, plus they've got distributors that can help support and carry this deployment for them. So we understand that both business models for both types of partners very critical to our I will say our comprehensive success, but the door is open, right? Because we have the huge majority of these rooms that now need to be standardized with native video conferencing solutions. Some of the partners that are playing in this space are very good at one type of room, but they are not, there's just been this knowledge gap, right? Or awareness gap or experience or expertise gap between understanding how that plays with Copilot. But then on the other side, we have partners that are very good at Copilot. They're selling Copilot or Teams licensing, but they're not selling room devices, right? So we're trying to bridge the two partner paths, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So this is the motion end to end, and I want you to think about it as a repeatable opportunity, not a one-time campaign. So step one, package the offer. We've done a lot of this with our vendors already. Protic will speak to his express install packages at the end of this session. We want to pick 2 or 3 of the room bundles that we're going to lead with. So we're not reinventing the quote every time. Step 2, enable our partners, get sales teams, fluent in the talk track, which is what we're hopefully handing you today. And then step 3, promote the motion, take it into a campaign, work a white space list of your customers with unequipped rooms. Step 4, sell out, right? So run the customer conversations. In step 5, the one people skip, right? Deploy and report. Actually stand the rooms up and register the opportunity and the deployment, because that step matters for a really practical reason. We want to see, the registration, the reporting is how we are seeing velocity at scale. Is it working? Do we need to modify? Do we need to continue to enable? And how we can get behind our partners with co-marketing, funding, support, training, et cetera. So the whole point of this slide is the word repeatable. Right. So a one-off win, we love those. Everybody loves, a Bluebird or a customer that has a number of large rooms that are going to keep us busy for a long time. But a motion in every region for every quarter, that is a business, right? So as we look at this, I think the question becomes like, which of these 5 steps are we doing well? And where is the motion breaking down today, potentially, or where are we going to see challenges getting started with the type of express install motion? Okay, I'll slow down just a little bit here, because this is kind of the heart of the whole session when we start talking about where the margin is for services-led opportunities. So sell the bundle, not the box. Okay, let me break down what that means. Here's kind of the motion, right? And there's 3 parts, but they're not equal. So the device, we know that really well. I'm assuming that most of the people on this call are here because native Teams Rooms devices are a part of your core business model. You're either using them or you're selling them, you're configuring them, etc. Certified Teams Rooms gear matched to the room. Okay, that's table stakes. Express, install, and config is the motion that makes it repeatable and fast for some of the rooms, those other rooms, right, in that category. And then services, right? So the design, deploy, manage, the reoccurring attach. And this gold card is where the additional margin lives for this category of other rooms. And I want to be pretty direct about this, right? So if we're only looking at the device, we're competing for potentially the least profitable part of the deal, right? And we're leaving the biggest, most margin rich, stickiest piece on the table. So the device gets us in the door. Express install lets us do it at volume. But services is what grows the deal size and, more importantly, keeps us in the account, right? Month after month, and where we can help them modernize and talk about other AI solutions for a long time to come. So one thing to take from this slide is we don't want to sell the box. We want to sell the bundle. And then on the next slide, let me show you exactly why service is what turns this into a big opportunity for us. So if we look at the 3 phases on the left and notice the tag on each. Design, right? So that is room standards, site survey, custom configuration. That's largely one-time project revenue. Deploy, if we talk about it in terms of the express install, and we're rolling that out across the estate of meeting rooms for a customer's portfolio of spaces, that's repeatable. Every room we add is another deploy, right? But manage, monitoring, support, Microsoft Teams Rooms, Pro Management Portal, AI training and adoption for bringing AI, complexity and understanding into that meeting room, that is reoccurring. So here's the way to think about the economics of this, right? So, and this is nothing that you guys don't already know. You're very smart, savvy people. So I know you know this, but I'm breaking it down into smaller chunks so that we can understand this in terms of Copilot plus Teams Rooms and Express Install. So if we think about the economics, a partner who sells, 20 rooms and walks away made margin once. A partner who sells 20 rooms and manages them is billing every single month. There's an annuity there, right? It's the trusted advisor the customer calls before they buy anything else. It's the same 20 rooms, completely different business. And AI is complex, right? So this is giving us an additional opportunity to bring in expertise. Let us talk to you about how AI, Microsoft Copilot, can help manage your meetings and give you better outcomes from your meetings, and how you can use this as a personal productivity tool and really see massive gains in your business. But the objection you may hear is on the right. Small rooms are low margin. We've all heard that. Like, we get it, right? And on a single room per box, that is true. But that's the wrong unit to consider, because when we look at volume across the whole estate, plus standardization, plus services layered on top, the math really changes, right? And manage is the line that compounds quarter over quarter. So the question I'd leave with the partners is, which of our customers could we be managing rooms for, like, starting right away? And this isn't just my read, right? The entire market is moving exactly this way. And I'll give you some more data on that here on this slide. And I added this slide because I don't want you to just take my word for it, right? The whole industry is moving in this direction. These are third-party numbers. So they come from KPMG's 2026 Managed Services Outlook. It's a survey of more than 1,200 senior leaders who make managed services decisions. 98% said that AI implementation is now a critical managed services capability. It's not a nice to have anymore. It's an expectation. 91% said that managed services are central to actually delivering agentic AI. And here's the one I'd underline, our gold card here. 56% expect AI management to be the single biggest area of managed services investment over the next 2 years. So that is a huge opportunity, right? Because suddenly our meeting room is an AI asset. right? And the native Teams Rooms device in that meeting room is what is allowing for that AI, that ambient AI to actually take place. So we're shifting our thinking on this a little bit. And then if you read back through everything we've said today, customers aren't just asking who can install their rooms. They are asking who can make AI useful, governed, and managed over time. And that's a huge service-led opportunity. And it's exactly where Express Install Motion could position you. The partners I think that are going to win here and this goes without saying probably, but it's not the ones who are going to, install a device. They're going to be the ones that are managing the AI-powered room as an ongoing service. So when I say that services is where margin lives for this category of other rooms, the yes and type of rooms, I want you to know that the market is telling us the same thing. And I think this is a really important slide for the field. So I'll just make it concrete with two examples. So on the left, of who I'm sure we have on the call today, so this is going to be really relatable. Like, let's picture a systems integrator or an AV integration partner. Really, like those partners that have been like historically so the bread and butter, right, of the Teams Rooms ecosystem. They've built amazing boardrooms for years. That's the core business model: design, build, deploy. Very successful, very strategic business model. But it's also a ceiling, because there's only so many boardrooms, right? So our job here is to lift our awareness to the long tail and to see that the same customer with one showcase boardroom has a dozen or more other rooms on the table. If we understand if they are leveraging AI, if they're investing in Copilot, if they're standardizing on Teams Premium, there are these amazing AI features that are going to be really critical to have in every room, not just that flagship room, right? And then the talk track leads with portfolio standardization and services across the estate. You already have the technical credibility. We just need to apply it at volume instead of bespoke. So on the right, MSPs, right? And I know there's some of you here today as well. So we manage Microsoft 365 for 150 small, medium-sized customers. Maybe you've never sold a Teams Rooms device. That may feel like a barrier, but you already own the customer relationship and the IT conversation. So you already understand Copilot. You understand how the customer understands Copilot and Teams and within their tenant. And Express Install, minimal overhead. Attach the room to the Copilot and Teams conversation that you're already having. Let distribution carry the burden of hardware deployment, et cetera. So, and I think there's the timing really couldn't be better, right? For really making all different partner types aware of this, because the press and the channel is full of MSPs being urged to add new recurring services beyond crowded categories like endpoint and email security, right? So Palo Alto Network actually has a 2026 incident response research that found that roughly 65% of breaches now involve compromised identities, and the pressure to manage more of the customer's environment only keeps growing, right? So that really fits nicely into this type of opportunity. A managed meeting room is exactly that kind of, fresh, sticky, reoccurring service. And it's sitting right next to the boardroom, and it's sitting right next to the Microsoft 365 and identity work that MSPs are already doing. So we're talking about two completely different partners, two, methodologies to go to the field, but massive opportunity for both of us, right? We're all bringing our different levels of expertise and, business models to our customers to help them modernize at scale and standardize. So I just want to kind of talk about some of the objections, right? Because you're probably thinking about them already. Maybe you're even like, you've said a couple of these, like small rooms are low margin, Express Install commoditizes our value, but I really want to address these because I want to be able to run into these objections with confidence, because every one of them is actually an opening, right? So the top two are maybe for our more traditional integration type partners, right? These are the concerns. Small rooms are low margin. Here's a reframe for that. When we count volume, standardization, and services across the whole estate, we prove that math wrong, right? That is where the margin is. It's a shift, right? In maybe our capabilities or our offerings. The margin is there. It just is coming in a different way. Express install commoditizes, third time's the charm, our value. The reframe for that, right, is actually the opposite is true. It frees your senior experts for the complex, high-value rooms while we're capturing the long tail that maybe we were not addressing before. Then if we look at the bottom two in terms of maybe what our MSP type customers are concerned with, right? We're not a hardware company, but you don't have to be, right? And that's why when we think about something like Express Install and our distribution, support mechanism, that is what those are for, right? Deployment is too much overhead. Express Install is engineered for minimal overhead, right? And we have partners that, like our distribution partners, that can do the heavy lifting there. So my advice is just to know that the opportunity, I guess, recognize the opportunity that's in front of you. Practice these reframes. We almost have to practice convincing ourselves. These are true statements. They're true objections that we've all been running into, and they're true reframes. It's not just like spin selling. It is a true reframe. We just have to think about it, practice it, and begin to build that new muscle memory, right? Because AI, Copilot, Express Install, it's changing the conversation around these opportunities. Okay, this is the ask, and I want it to be kind of concrete and time-bound. I don't want it to be aspirational, right? So this is what I would suggest. If you really want to take everything that you've learned over this 4-part series, go into that 200-level series next month, with some evidence or some questions or some examples, that would be awesome. So pick your motion. Oh, Protic, I'm getting your content. Did everybody else just lose my content? Okay, here, let me share again. And it should take me right back to the slide that I was on. Maybe not. Let's see how fast I can do this. I don't have that many slides. I think I was on slide 20 maybe. Okay. So pick your motion. Are we understand kind of our business model, right? Are we going to understand and take to market our systems integrator, AV integration partner, outcome-based play, or are we going to look into our MSP, like meeting in a box play? 2, build or adopt the Express Install bundle. We already have some available that are built with your distribution partners. We have OEM vendors that have created bundles for you to be a starting point or a clean meeting in a room offering. So device, install, services packaged together. And then run our first conversations. Like let's take the talk track that we've been working on today to our real customers. Let's discuss their room estate, their full portfolio of spaces. And then 4, let's register the opportunities and deployments so we can track this velocity, right? And that Microsoft it helps us get behind you with support to understand how this is shaping up. And many of our vendors, and I'm sure Protic is going to talk about registration today, they have registration opportunities. So just keep that in mind and come back if you have any questions on that. But I don't want you to leave without kind of understanding like what your next action is going to be here if this is something that you are interested in going forward with. Again, this is the predominant portion of the market. So we need our partners to help us help our customers modernize across their full estate of spaces. Let's think about the single customer, the single bundle, the single conversation that we can have this week. Okay, and I'm coming to wrap up here because I want to give Protic a few extra quick minutes. Quick but important, this is the track, right? So yes, this is the last session of our 100 level series, but we have so many other resources for you. So if you want to continue to lean into your learning, we have sales boot camps, technical boot camps, sales badges, technical badges. This 4-part journey is on my YouTube. The next 4-part journey will also be on the YouTube channel. We have monthly partner community calls. If that's something that you're interested in, please let me know. I'm happy to bring you into that. We have Microsoft Places, the badge, and training. And then we have our monthly expert series webinars that should be starting again next month. So all of these should be on your radar so that you continue to stay aware of what's happening. There's constant updates, right? Like AI means that we are coming to the market with so many new opportunities all the time. So we want to make sure we're giving you all of the opportunities to lean into this and learn more. So I kind of want to land the plane here with kind of looking back over this full series. So they seemed very disparate, like separate agendas, separate learning opportunities. But the goal across was to make Copilot personal and then understand how we can take it from a personal experience to a group experience. So in the 101, we talked about using Copilot as your personal productivity tool, not just to save a few minutes here and there, but to really think differently about our work, our priorities, our workflows, and where AI can remove friction from each of our days. And then in 201, we moved from personal productivity into what we call the business of meetings, right? Because for most organizations, including our own, meetings are where decisions happen. It's where work gets assigned. It's where context could get lost if we're not in the meeting, if we're following the meeting, if we're busy multitasking. And a lot of times it's where time is either created or wasted. And Copilot really changes that, right? Because it helps meetings become more actionable through the whole meeting phase, before, during, and after the conversation, right? And then in 301, we expanded that even further. That we took that story into agents and agentic AI. And we looked at how AI is moving beyond individual prompts into tools that can take on inefficient, repetitive, and fragmented work, helping each of us move faster, reduce manual follow-up, create better outcomes across the flow of our work. And then today in 401, we connected that entire story to the room. Because once we each, in our own work and organizations and our customer organizations, once we understand the value of Copilot, once we see that AI can capture decisions, summarize discussions, assign actions, improve follow-through, reduce the drag of inefficient work, the question changes. It is no longer, do we need one great Teams room? The question becomes, how do we make every room AI ready? And that is why Copilot is driving the opportunity to standardize on native Microsoft Teams rooms devices across the full space portfolio, not just the boardroom, not just the flagship spaces, but every huddle room, focus room, standard conference room, collaboration space where the day-to-day work is actually really happening. And that is the massive opportunity, right? If Copilot creates the demand, Teams rooms delivers the experience. If customers want consistent AI-powered meeting outcomes, they need consistent room experiences. And if partners can package that once, sell it repeatedly, and deploy at scale for those other rooms, this becomes more than a device motion, right? It becomes a portfolio standardization motion, and it becomes a managed services motion. It becomes reoccurring revenue motion. So if there's one statement that I want to leave you with at the end of this 100 level series, it's this. Copilot is not only changing how people work. Copilot is changing what every meeting space needs to become. And that is why Copilot plus Teams Room is such a massive opportunity. It brings together the personal productivity story, the meeting outcome story, the agentic AI story, and the physical room experience into one partner-ready motion for every room, every quarter, for every customer. So we want to package it once, sell it repeatedly, deploy it at scale. So thank you for being part of this series. And I'm going to hand it to my friend and partner, Protic with Cisco. Yeah, go ahead, Protic. I'll let you take over.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Just want to say what an amazing setup and also an opportunity for Cisco to come in and help you close out your 100 series. They just really put together nicely in terms of the content. And thank you to all the attendees as well for staying on. So I'm going to kind of go through and show you how Cisco is really taking a part in this partnership with Microsoft and what that really means when we come together and talk about Copilot. Now, a lot of you might think, hang on, Copilot, Cisco, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but you'll be surprised at how integrated the Copilot story is as we look at enabling workspaces and meeting rooms and beyond. So when you look at what Cisco's done in this partnership, we're the fastest growing OEM now, I think 6 quarters in a row. We have Ilya on stage at Infocom, at Cisco Live, talking through the value proposition. It's so much more than just video. It's everything that Amanda just touched on, right? It's talking about that experience. It's talking about the ease of deployment, simplicity to manage, i.e. express install. Then you talk about beyond that, managed services, right? How do you then take these experiences and sort of spread it out and be able to give you the best experiences operationally, but as a user as well in terms of outcomes? And then tying that back to different audiences, right? In terms of HR and the finance office and facilities, really focusing on what their true value proposition is. And that's where the Cisco Microsoft story is really shining. And it's not just us, it's not our partners, not our customers, it's even the analysts. When you look at how analysts have landed the Cisco value proposition over the last 12 to 18 months, you'll see that over 24, 25, Frost has put up in the far right corner. Omdia, again, very AV specific around everything we're talking about today. We're way far out on the right. So from an enterprise perspective, carpeted, non-carpeted areas, how that all comes together. Take a look at that report, does a really good job in landing why Cisco is different. And then obviously IDC, which everybody recognizes, again, far right corner as well. So we're doing really well. We're super proud of that. And we've got a lot of awards along the way also. Why? So when you think about Cisco and why we're different from all our competitors, listen, everybody has really good devices in the market, right? Good and bad. The good is there's lots of great devices. The bad, there's lots of choice. And this also then complicates it for our customers and even for you as partners as to who you focus on, how you go to market. What makes us different? We offer the best, most flexible interoperability choice solution there is in the market today. So when you buy a Cisco device, you basically boot up one SKU and you get choices, right? Again, the conversation is if your customer's committed to Microsoft Teams, we 100% want you to lead with our Microsoft native Teams Rooms experience, and that highlights everything that Amanda just talked about in terms of room facilitator and the transcription capabilities and everything you can do, like joining a Teams meeting or a web meeting, I think live meetings, right, from a Teams Rooms device as well. Again, all based on that rich experience you're getting with Copilot integrated into Teams Rooms. But when it comes to a portfolio, right, we've also done better. We now have three MDEP certified devices that we've launched. We've got the Despro G2, which I'm actually on today. So hopefully you can see the video quality and the capabilities. It's also now a new huddle device because we have a dual camera ecosystem. Again, all AI driven with NVIDIA chipsets from the smallest to the largest. We also announced our Despro G3, which is now dual camera and MDEP built team certified. And then our largest express install room today is our RoomKit Pro G2, which is also MDEP built Teams Room certified. So these are really opportunities that gives you and your customers the opportunity not only scale the small huddle spaces or the medium room spaces that aren't video enabled today, or maybe you're using BYO USB solutions today, and how this leverages and allows you to take advantage of what Copilot's giving you in terms of visibility, in terms of management, in terms of grabbing all the capabilities around sensors that are built into all our devices. You don't need anything additional. Every single device has sensors built into it. So Amanda touched on Express installs. I'm not going to go into too much detail. You all understand the value proposition. Cisco's fully aligned and bought in. We have everything from the huddle space, small room, to a large room. We're the only manufacturer that's Teams Room certified with MDEP for a large room installed today. Earlier highlighted that at ISC, and we're super proud of that, right? Again, that's with our RoomKit Pro G2. And it gives you an opportunity because we're now moving to that AV over IP story as well in terms of being able to deploy Room in under an hour from furniture to displays and joining a meeting, right? Try and simple. Why this all comes together for Cisco? If you look at the screen, if you're in AV, you've hopefully noticed a couple of things. We're missing things like DSPs and controllers. We simplified, right? Why? Because from a Cisco perspective, it's all built into our codecs. If you're an MSP, if you're a networking or a security partner, guess what? You're seeing a switch in there. Why are we different? Because again, Cisco does security, networking, data centers, and collab really well. We're now including the Cisco switches into our room design. So when you go into management, you can actually see down to the port level how your rooms are behaving. All our cameras, our microphones are all AV over IP enabled. So I can now plug and play right into the codec, right, which you see on the top left. Again, so the key subtle differences. So why Cisco? We're so much more than just a room. Everything Amanda touched on, right? Yes, we can go and do the video room. We do it really well. We can do a workspace. We do it really well. We can do buildings. We do it really well. But we now look at networks. We now look at how we leverage all the resources that are integrated into your network as a whole, and we pull them all together to have that better together story now with places, as your customers are talking about, with Cisco Spaces. How do we blend that digital sort of individual experience to a physical facilitator experience? And how do we bring all that data together with everything that we're pulling through all our video devices, our AP endpoints, our Wi-Fi sensors, etc. And then we build this all into what you guys have been listening to on this entire roadshow that Amanda's doing around AI. From a Cisco perspective, we are now viewing AI in three different buckets. It's not just about AI enabling people, because that's what you see for the last 20 years with things like our screen frames in terms of AI director, in terms of noise removal, etc., right? That's been there for years. Then we talked about people in AI, where it's us integrating and asking questions to Copilot. Hey, what can you do for us? I need you to do this for us. But now it's AI to AI. And we're taking this really seriously. And this is where, frankly, the market's noticing that Cisco's invested, because now we can ensure that everyone's doing it, but securely and safely, right? How do we ensure that agents are speaking with agents correctly and doing what they're supposed to do, as well as with people? And we're able to do this, again, based on our architecture, on how we're going to market with our devices. Again, everything that we do with Microsoft, our native devices, is virtualized on top of Room OS, giving us some really unique capabilities. And if there are other events you've heard Amanda and I talk about it, we go into that in a lot of detail as the key differentiator for us. And then you tie into that all our purpose-built devices, again, NVIDIA built with a lot of the AI built in at the edge. We don't rely on the cloud because of the NVIDIA chipset power. We're able to do a lot of these AI capabilities and give you those solutions that Amanda touched on earlier today. So this just gives you some view of what the edge level AI capabilities are on all our devices, from the Desk Pro that I'm on today, the G2, all the way up to a large, complex, multi-divisible room that we can now do without the Crestron and Extron if it's a simple divisible space. Where AI is allowing us to get really creative in Control Hub is offering you things like a digital twin. We're now able to give you views of your room real time without you actually physically being there anywhere in the world, where what will actually show you, as you can see in the screen, it'll provide a digital twin and actually tell you, hey, we see that the last two people in the room aren't going to be picked up by the microphone because it's not placed correctly, or your screens are too small, or your TVs aren't large enough, right? And these are things you can then go in. As an example, somebody had a meeting zone set up. I could be sitting here and a room in Singapore, essentially change the meeting zone remotely, looking at this and say, wow, AI is telling me this is not going to work. So do you want us to go ahead and change it? Yes. Click yes. AI will essentially go in and make the change for you. The other things here is what we're doing with Copilot.
As your admin environment gets complex, you need visibility across your organization without switching between tools. With AI agent integrations for Control Hub, we're bringing the next generation of workspace and device intelligence. As your admin environment gets complex, you need visibility across your organization without switching between tools. With AI agent integrations for Control Hub, we're bringing the next generation of workspace and device intelligence directly to your workflow. Now, you can add workspaces data from Control Hub to the AI agents you already use, resulting in seamless conversational management wherever you work.
I think the video got paused there for some reason. I'll share with you later, but essentially what the slide was sharing for you is how we're moving from you having to go through multiple different tools to be able to now leverage with our Cisco agentic AI built in to use Copilot that you're invested in, to use Copilot to then pull data through the Cisco AI agent. So I can go in using natural language interface and essentially say, hey, let me know how many rooms are up and running. Do they have any issues? Do they need upgrades? And it'll automatically pull through Control Hub and bring it back to you in Copilot, right? Which is super cool. All right, let's see if I can get back to my controls here.
Directly to your workflow.
All right, so when you look at the AI agent integration component, right, again, I touched on it. It gives you a couple of different things in terms of the type of data you want to pull through from Copilot. And as you can see there, we're also integrating it into other AI agents if your organization has picked one or more. That's okay as well, right? Again, a two differentiator for us in terms of being open. But when you look at it from instance of diagnostics, which I touched on, hey, the room's not working, there's an issue there. Or proactive detection. Hey, we think there's going to be an issue here based on X, Y, and Z. Would you like us to do certain things? Again, leveraging Copilot, pulling through the Cisco AI agent, we're able to continue that motion and build that. So as an example, when you look at the workspace rankings, it'll actually come out and tell you, hey, when we look at all your rooms globally, here's how we stack rank them. Here are the ones that are red, orange, green, right? Would you like us to proactively look at the ones that are red? Would you like us to say, hey, we noticed you have a meeting starting at XYZ time. There seems to be a potential issue here. Or you have the smart diagnostics component, which gives you visibility into the broader infrastructure. Again, trying to make it easy for you as a user or for our customers. The other thing Amanda touched on is as you go to your customers, if you're a partner or a customer, we're talking about managed services, right? And this is where Cisco recently announced a Cisco-powered meeting room service, which if you haven't heard of it, I strongly encourage you to take a look at it. A lot of you, if you are into AV, if you are doing SI, these are things you're doing naturally anyways. Take a look. We'll share the data with you, but it essentially allows you to provide that additional add-on capability tied to Cisco and Microsoft as a practice. Again, going to everything Amanda touched on, how do we now scale from those 5, 10-room deployments to 1,000-room deployments? And we do that really well. We've got examples. We've got actual proof cases where we show how this all comes together. And then it ties into additional capabilities from Cisco around things like rebates and additional components that allow you to really leverage the managed services component with meeting rooms. So take a look at this. If you haven't, it's in PXP. Look for the partner managed meeting room services, and it'll also help you with your PVI score in terms of those rebate structures as well. So again, why Cisco? Hopefully you've heard in this short amount of time some of the key things we're doing differently, how strongly we integrated with the Copilot Microsoft native go-to-market story. We're doing really well. We have a fantastic portfolio of products. We have an amazing team that's here to support you both from a channel and a customer perspective, and we're continuing to grow. So with that, I'm going to stop presenting and then hand it back over and see if there's questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, ProTech. I appreciate you. We've got such a good mojo going, you and I, which seems like we deliver these presentations pretty often. So I always learn something new each time, though. So great job. Thank you. I don't see any questions in the chat or the Q&A. So let me just wrap up by saying that I appreciate everyone for your, enthusiasm in this 4-part journey. I had a kind of a bet that this was what we needed to bring to market to help educate our partners and bring it to you in like this judgment-free zone, because learning about AI and Copilot and where that intersects with the business that we know so well, which is rooms and Teams meeting rooms, we sort of make that practical and get everybody kind of level set and understanding that it's not too late. to start learning and adapting and navigating this world of Copilot and how it is driving our customers to think about their rooms differently. So I so appreciate everybody's enthusiasm and joining for each of these sessions. We are still getting like hundreds of views on my YouTube channel. So keep sharing those videos. I really do believe in our ability to make our days better and more productive, and, in the reduction of low and so many repetitive zero value tasks. So keep joining the sessions. I'll see you in the 200 level series. If you are registered for this session, level 200 will show up automatically in your calendar. So it'll just magically appear in your calendar. So I'll plan to see you in August. Enjoy your summer, and hope to see you guys around. ProTech, thanks again for joining. I appreciate you being here. And
thanks so much.
I'll talk to everyone soon. Thanks again for being here. Bye.
Take care.